waits, and Johnson scores! Masaba's in the middle, Wednesday here could seal it, Gassama finds Masaba! Now Bannon with a great ball in, here's an opportunity, Palmer scores! Liam Palmer has scored for Sheffield Wednesday!
Well. Monday the 31st of March. Didn't expect to be coming on here to do a podcast. But yeah, I mean, April the 1st tomorrow, innit? Not today, but yeah, players not being paid by Mr. Chansiri. Hello and welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast, emergency podcast this evening after the news that, as I just said, the players have not been paid. Just going to read out the statement for those that haven't read it or seen it at all on the club's official website. Sheffield Wednesday can confirm a temporary issue with the payment of player salaries for the month of March. This has occurred as a result of significant sums of money owed to the chairman's businesses, which has in turn impacted on the club's immediate cash flow. The chairman is working hard to resolve the situation at the earliest possible opportunity. And in the meantime, thanks everyone for their patience and understanding. Now, it's not just myself. I am joined by Mr. Matt Johnson. Matt, I was only talking to you yesterday and we were talking about a playoff push. I did not have players not be paid in March on my bingo card. I'm not going to lie, but here we are, mate.
Yeah, wonderful. Really fantastic news on a Monday night, isn't it? It's just, do you know what? It is. There does come a point where if you don't start laughing, what else you get really, really angry about it. And I think we've all come to realise how far past we have gone oh, do you know what? This is a surprise. It's any time there is any monies or due or like finances owed, whether that be wages, whether it be tax bills, anything at all. So yeah, there we go. And yes, Adam in the chat. Yes, I have been golfing. Went this evening, 9 holes.
Yeah. Joe, I mean, yeah, the loads and loads of comments do keep them all coming in. Yeah. Dan says embargo number list count incoming.
I am not mistaken, James. I think that is, we're on 5 currently. This would be 6, I think.
Get that on your honours board, Mr. Chansiri. Yeah, Dale, is anyone surprised? I mean, initially, yes, because you're thinking, can it get any worse? Like, but we've been here before, haven't we? I said, nobody can defend him anymore. They just can't. Like, I mean, he can't fund the football club. We've been saying it for time after time after time. And there's people that are still defending him. Oh, he can't spend money because of FFP, this, that, and the other. Or a sale in the shop. Let's give him praise for having a sale in the shop. I mean, it's all making sense now, isn't it? Dale's also said, can't wait for a relegation battle again when we get slapped with a points deduction. Yeah, there is. I mean, what were you were just reading something earlier, Matt, weren't you?
Yeah, so obviously this news has broken very quickly, so me and James have been trying to react to it as quickly as possible. It was Rob Oldfield who actually gave me the heads up about a potential points deduction here and said, just a heads up, points deduction, ? So I immediately turned to Google. Let me just give you the exact rhetoric from it. EFL clubs can now face point deductions for failing to pay players on time, with new regulations requiring self-reporting and potentially leading to registration embargoes and multiple points deductions. The new regulations introduced by the EFL require clubs to self-report failures to pay players' wages, which is exactly what this is, within 2 working days of the scheduled payment date. So players knew about this on Friday.
Oh, makes sense, that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With how they played in that first half against Cardiff, no surprise.
The consequences of this is that clubs fail to pay players on time can face a registration embargo, preventing them from registering new players. That's handy when we did an extra time yesterday about all of the out-of-contract players and who we'd keep. And potentially multiple points deductions. Reading Football Club has been deducted points for failing to meet HMRC payment obligations, with 2-point penalties and further 2 points suspended. Suspended sanctions sanctions. So this is something else that the EFL can do. They introduce a new sanctioning guideline, which ranges, you have a suspended points deduction. So that could potentially carry over, I think, into next season, rather than it being at the start of this season. Other potential sanctions that clubs can face: points deductions for non-financial infringements, which is nothing really here. And Leicester City are currently facing charges for allegedly breaching Premier League profit and sustainability, which no one gives a shit about because we ain't going to get there. Because now we've gone from talking about playoffs, James, to a potential 12-point deduction, which would put us right in the firm.
That would put us on 40 points. Just put that into context. Derby are on 38, Luton are on 38. Cardiff are on 40. This would mean that Hull on Saturday could potentially be a 6-pointer.
Oh man, what a...
Yeah, we have to laugh, don't we? I mean, like, in all seriousness as well, it's shit for the players. Like, it is really, really shit. You know, the players not being paid. Yeah, people are going to say, well, they get paid obscene amounts of money. You should never, ever go into any sort of work fearing that you're not going to be paid for what you owed. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Just highlighted that point, James, by the way, with
yeah.
It's not even fair on the players. It's just disgusting and embarrassing. And that is ultimately the core of it. It is absolutely embarrassing that we are unable to meet the demands that we as a football club have made on ourselves, meet obligations to pay players. Because guess what? Every single one of us, me and you included, in this chat, if your work told you we can't pay your wages, would you be going in tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't, would you? You just wouldn't do it.
Beggars belief, genuinely beggars belief. And it is absolutely disgusting. It's abhorrent. It's ridiculous. Oh,
yeah, honestly, do you know what as well? Again, I just come back to the fact that, you know, we've been saying it many, many times that, you know, we looked in January not paying money for any new signings. The signings we made are a little bit, you know, weird and wishy-washy. You know, now not being able to pay players it just has to be the final nail in the coffin. Like, I'm not being funny. I mean, I don't know how many nails we need in this coffin, but this has to be the last one. He can't come back from this. He just cannot. He cannot come back from it at all. And I'm sat here now, just one part of me is laughing. I just find it hilarious that it's just add it to the list of all the failings and the shortcomings of the chairman. You know, yes, we get people saying, "Well, we signed Danny Rail. Oh, we had a great couple of seasons in League One and all this." That you're trying to make an excuse for him. I don't know what excuse he's going to come out with now. What's he said? His businesses haven't been paid.
Which is the exact excuse that we gave in October when we couldn't pay our tax bill, is that he's currently struggling with a temporary cash flow issue. Yeah, so am I. I'm skint as well. He's struggling with a temporary cash flow issue, and this is due to monies owed to the chairman and other business ventures, so that it will be solved and it's not something that we should be worried about. Shut up, man. Like, shut up. You can get away with this once. And I mean once, and it is a firm sticking point. When you're running this is... I really don't want to bring this down, James, because we did a huge Dejphon Chansiri special like a couple of months back here. This was the exact same issues that persisted the last time that we were in the Championship. This chairman has proved he is incapable of funding a Championship-level team. He is incapable of doing so. And bear in mind, this season, he has had an increase of money into the football club. He has had an increase from Sky. So he's had more money going in than he has had in previous years. Yes, okay, you can argue that the wages have gone up since we've gone up to the Championship, but he couldn't pay them last time. He can't pay them now.
Not only that, though, as well, he's had the season ticket money for next season. He sold a shirt for next season as well. Like, you know, how many more things he's having to have a sale in the club shop, which, you know, clearly now, I mean, look, putting two and two together, I mean, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Why we've done that. Someone said as well, you know, like, oh, it's coming to the end of the tax year, you know, March into. I mean, I think Sheffield Wednesday are on a different end of year kind of pay cycle anyway. But again, you know, it makes sense. People were saying already something's coming up, some bill needs to be paid. You know, what is it? But yeah, I mean, is this the beginning of the end, Matt? Is this kind of like where, where we've heard that there's people waiting in the wings, or there's people wanting to, come forward and things like that. But I guess the fact that the current owner can't pay, that's a massive bargaining tool when you're looking at, in terms of coming in to try and take the club off someone's hands. You can't pay, mate. Like, if you can't pay, I can. Let's just do a deal.
I sincerely hope so, is the honest answer. I sincerely hope this is the start of the end. I sincerely hope that this is, and again, whilst the news this evening has really, really angered and frustrated me, again, my stance is still firm. I don't wish any ill health or anything like that on the chairman. He is just incapable of doing the job that he has signed up for in running this football club. I don't wish anything against family. I don't wish anything against that. I really hope so far people haven't started like throwing this out and tweeting his son and blah, blah, blah. Please don't do that. This is just prime evidence of more and more and more that we are incapable, and he in particular is incapable of funding this football club to the level that it needs to be, somewhat even remotely sustainable at championship level.
But Matt, I just can't believe how a football club can be so hand to mouth. We're literally relying on the date, on bills being paid to us in order for us to fulfill, just normal day-to-day bills. It's nothing. We're talking about just wages being paid here. I mean, I know that it's a big amount of money and probably the biggest outlay of any sort of football club. But it's not a shock. This money needs to be paid every single month. You know what I mean? And it's not. Why beggars belief. I'm just like lost. I'm lost for words, but I shouldn't really be lost for words. Like we all knew that this was coming at some point. We were all waiting for it. We just kind of all hoped that it wouldn't happen, but it has.
Yeah, it has, and there is a. This is really bad. There is a sad inevitability about it all, isn't there, James? There really is a sad inevitability about it all in terms of. I would hope this comes as no coincidence that we're on a different podcast, Kieran Maguire's The Price of Football, tomorrow.
They might be re-editing that one now.
Yeah, there's a slight re-edit. I would imagine that's going to need to go on since recording. I've just highlighted this from Chef Cam here. Somebody will be able to pick this club up for £1 soon enough. And there's asset management firms. Mike Ashley will be all over this current news.
Well, also as well, when you spoke to Simon and he was saying that people are just kind of going to say, "Well, we'll wait until they go into administration." This is the start of that happening. Do you know what I mean? It might never get to that point, but it's in a way, do people just going to wait? Are they just going to go like, "Why am I going to pay 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, however many £1 million?" Sorry, for a football club when I can just, they're in financial difficulty. They're not paying the players. Like it's just, it's mental. Yeah, we just had one there from Matt. Last time he used this excuse, he could and should have put the money needed for the season in the club's accounts. That simple.
Sorry, James, I just had to highlight that one off your rant yesterday from Wigan Owl. Hatsuse can sell his wash bag to fund the wages.
To be fair, he'll be selling his wash bag to fund his own wages. Do you know what I mean? Get on Vinted. There'll be all sorts of stuff on Vinted. We joke. I know. Again, I mentioned before. If you just tuned in, horrible moment for any sort of person in whatever line of work you're in that you've not been paid. But yeah, Lee said he's not paying. We're going to get a points deduction, and he's not going. I guess that says anywhere. I'm not sure he will let us go to admin. He just sustains. I don't know, but yeah, David there, I've just woken up to this news. I'm bloody sick of it, getting scared of going to sleep over here in Australia. Get rid of him now. Yeah, just David did say in the Discord, is it April Fool's over there yet? Or is this actually legit? I mean, if it was an April Fool's joke, what a sick April Fool's joke it'd be. Eli there, even as a Plymouth fan, I feel bad for you a lot. Good manager, just a rubbish owner. Yeah. Matt said as well, next news is that Roll walks. I mean, look, we've all been saying Danny Roll isn't going to be here next season. He's off to Southampton. If there was any sort of glimmer of hope that he was going to stay, I mean, this news just screams like, whatever he's going to tell him, whatever Chansiri is going to tell him in the summer about any sort of budget that he's going to have next season, is just a total and utter load of bollocks.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we sit here, James, and we know that it's a lie, do you honestly think that the manager who sits, or who is, who has a direct line to the chairman after December, of course, because he hasn't got it before December and January, do you think he's going to believe a damn thing? Like a damn thing that's been said? And bear in mind, the one thing that I would like to say on this, it would have been very easy to hint at this, because Roll hinted at stuff in December about the transfers, and without actually saying anything, he did hint at stuff so that the fan base had some rumblings that all wasn't quite as it seemed on the surface of it in December. He did nothing for that yesterday. Nothing for that on Saturday. Sorry, not yesterday. He did nothing on that on Saturday. And I know that would have been highly unprofessional, but we've heard a lot of Sheffield Wednesday fans have heard a lot of rumours and a lot of hearsay about kind of the unprofessionalism that's being parroted out about the manager. That is also a huge credit to both him and the playing staff that actually on Saturday, because they would have been well within their rights to say, do you know what? No, I'm not turning up for this. I'm not doing this again. And I know that is really easy as like fans. We can sit there and say, yeah, but that's ridiculous. That's scandalous. They should never do that. Look at the money that they're on and all the rest of it. Ultimately, you're being asked to turn up for work without being paid. It is just a basic principle of absolutely anything to do with any sort of a positive working relationship.
And I think Matt heading into Saturday's game as well, I think now more than ever, it is 100% back the team, not the regime. You know, it needs to be 110% support for the players that set foot out onto that pitch on Saturday. Yeah, I've no idea if anything's going to be planned for Saturday or not, but they will be chance 100%. You know, and this is where we're at. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, again, you know, people have been critical of people that have been standing up against him and putting their head above the parapet again, similar to kind of what's been happening previously. But once again, it's another massive own goal. I think it's even bigger than an own goal. It's just another failing at the football club. Like how many other football clubs do you see doing this? Like, do you know what I mean? When you look up yeah, exactly. You don't see it. You do not see any other football club within reason, you know, doing this sort of stuff and getting away with it as well. You know, it's been a minor miracle that we are where we are in the league. You know, I mean, look, if the 12-point deduction comes, I mean
that's ifs and buts, isn't it? It's ifs and buts at this point in time. We really, really don't know whether that is going to be something that happens. So I suppose from our perspective, where we are now, I know we're echoing kind of like a lot of comments that are coming through in the chat and kind of fan statements. It is also something that's worth touching on, because that is a distinct possibility. Because that is in the EFL regulation, but it's not something that we have any news on now. So I suppose from our perspective, James, it's kind of, I don't want to say pointless, kind of like saying, oh, well, no, it's not going to happen. But legitimately, it is something that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing would probably be an embargo as well. Some sort. And I can't remember what was said last time. There was something about, you know, if we don't pay the players' wages again in a certain period of time. I don't know if that period of time has passed or whether I'm making that up or not. Maybe someone in the comments can maybe remember. But I'm sure there was something said about if it happens again, something else happens. There's further sanctions. Again, I don't know if that's you know, in a 12-month period or a 24-month period, I've no idea. I mean, Lee hits the nail on the head here. Look, he said just takes all the joy out of it. Chansiri taints and casts a shadow over everything. I said this on like the debate show last week. We spent a full show talking about the owner of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club and not talking about. I mean, I think 5 minutes before the end, we started talking about Cardiff game. Like, we spent the whole day, a whole episode, an hour and 25 minutes talking about Chansiri, and it's time after time after time, because he just does something seemingly just. It feels like at least every month there's something that we can that he does wrong, and you know, honestly, Yeah.
I've just decided to highlight this one, James, here from Matt again, who has popped up saying, discussing the fans who have been defending Chansiri and said, be careful what you wish for. He could choose to stop paying the bills, etc. Now what? Because he's not chosen to stop paying the bills. He physically can't. So it's, you kind of sit there and you just think, well, what kind of situation are you supposed to sit here and think about? Like, I mean, this one here, I'm just going to highlight this one from Jules72, where it says, bloody hell, you two are doom and gloom, aren't you? Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Jules, if you missed the first couple of minutes, it was just me and James pissing ourselves laughing at the news.
What do you want us to say? What positives can you take out of it, other than the fact that it might be the beginning of the end? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and we've been, but that's not anything to shout about. That's not anything to, I'd much rather it not be that way, and I'd much rather us be talking again about going into these last 7 games, having a chance of getting into playoffs. Instead, we're going, are they going to be paid yet? Every day is going to be, have they got paid today? Have they got paid today? Have they got paid today? And then it'll be, are we turning up on Saturday? Are we going to get hammered? It's just going to be negativity, which is just not needed. I mean, I dread to think what it's like on that Facebook group if they can't have any. The admins are on overtime this evening, I think.
Down for another 36 hours, just completely gone. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, James, this is really difficult as two obviously Sheffield Wednesday fans, because what more is there to say on him? Like, what more is there to say on this owner than has not already been said? He, and we all know this, is unfit to run this football club. Has been unfit for the past, conservatively 6, probably 8 years.
I think he's just kind of pacified every little test.
Yeah. Like, I was just about to say, like, what more evidence do you need to suggest that this owner is not even? It's not even whether he's fit and proper anymore. It's whether he's actually physically capable of running the club. Now, we are hearing about player wages here. The interesting one would be about wider club staff.
Yeah,
have wider club staff been paid? Like, have they actually been paid their monthly wages? And it's not, whilst I feel incredibly sorry for players who haven't been paid, because it's not necessarily the players who you see on the pitch for 90 minutes. It's the real world people that it impacts.
100%.
Also think about the people who are at the club who have just seen this news being broken. Like, have they been paid for this month? Was that paid on Friday? Like, we don't know. This statement is inconclusive from the perspective of we can't pay the players. I get that they're the biggest financial outlay for the club, but have we actually taken care of people who will be working the turnstiles, working security, working behind the kiosks? Have we taken care of all of them? Because I'm sure if you are, I'm trying to put myself in the situation of a player. Thank God I'm not, for everybody who does go to Hillsborough on Saturday.
Hey, to be fair, it would take your boots.
Yeah. I might finally get a game other than a charity one, James. But I look at it and just think, if I was a player in that situation, I'm thinking about those people. I'm thinking about your physios. I'm thinking about your sports scientists. I'm thinking about your chefs. I'm thinking about everybody who is there. That is going to be the number one talking point on everybody's lips. But Josh Windass has summed it up best. It's just another day at this football club under this current ownership. It's just another.
But it shouldn't be though, Matt. It shouldn't be.
No,
do you know what I mean? Like, when people say stuff like that, it's wrong. Like, it should.
I agree.
It shouldn't become the norm. Like, you can't say, people. It's like when season tickets come out like 15 months before the season starts or whatever. Oh yeah, but he did that last season. Oh, does that make it all right then? Just because he's done it every single year doesn't make something right. Continuing to make a mistake does not then just make it okay to keep continuing to make that mistake. Like, he paid his tax bill. The players got paid last time eventually. Like, it's absolutely rubbish. And honestly, yeah, I'm interested to see what happens after this. Whether the EFL start to step in. Obviously it was only just broken less than an hour ago now. Let's see what happens. Let's see if other things happen. Like I said, EFL could step in. I know they stepped in with Reading. I don't think we're quite at that stage yet, but that's how it started over there. Let's not forget. We've had the the executive boxes, they were on sale for a week. That were only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, again, there was murmurs of like, oh, it's, you know, he's needing some money for something when that started. And again, that got shot down quite quickly by certain people. But it all just falls into place. And that list of mistakes that the chairman has made in running the football club is continuing to get longer and longer and longer. And yeah, again, lost for words really at the way that he's running the football club.
100%, James, and I think that is kind of the salient point that I think every Sheffield Wednesday fan will take away from this evening is it's just lost for words yet again. Like, it's just, you do sit there and you think, okay, how long are we going to go? Because to say that it's a temporary cash flow issue, like problem, well, we heard that in October surrounding a tax bill. And what was that, 20 odd days before it was actually paid?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to go 20 odd days without players being able to potentially pay mortgages? I'm not talking about players work paycheck to paycheck, but I'm saying like that is the real world consequences of what happens if this drags on. We know that from last time that this happened, when it was around the end of the relegation season, COVID season, players actually refused to travel until they'd been paid for away games. That was reported by Nancy Frostick of The Athletic at the time. She reported that players had refused to travel to an away day. They got onto the bus on Thursday or Friday and said, we're not going anywhere until we're paid. Is that the type of thing that is going to happen? Because many of those players are still here, especially the leadership group. We're talking Liam Palmer, we're talking Barry Bannon. They are the players who were here last time and who have been through and seen this type of mad shit over and over and over again. The only positive, and again, James, I do want to keep coming back to this point. The only positive is this is surely, alongside all the other shit that has happened and potentially will happen in the next couple of weeks with regards to the manager, with regards to out of contract players, this will finally, it is my firm belief that this is really and truly the beginning of the end. Like really and truly the beginning of the end. Because without a points deduction, we're likely to have a mid-table finish. We're likely to have another season of guaranteed championship football next year, but we don't know whether we'll be starting on a hefty points deduction. We don't know whether we'll be starting on this. And Scott here has summed up and got to the point far quicker than I would have done here. It's just another chunk of the soul being ripped out of the middle of the football club with this owner in charge. Yet again.
Yeah, it's just... If you look at the bigger picture, though, as well, Matt, we were talking on extra time just less than 24 hours ago, talking about out of contract players and things like that. Are you going to sign another deal with Chansiri at the helm? You, straight away today or Friday, even when you realise you've not been paid, you're straight onto your agent. Find me another club,
100%,
or find me and even the players that are kind of in contract as well would have 100% had a conversation and gone, put the feelers out there. Where can I go next? Do you know what I mean? Because
100%.
It happens once. Why has it happened once? Like, it should never happen at any point.
No.
But the fact that it's happened once, it could happen again, and you're going to be looking for a way out. And then also as well, it goes. Everyone knows we've already talked about kind of how much of a big rebuild we're going to need in the summer. Noah Shea Charles for one, he's going to need replacing. We're going to need centre backs. The list is endless. We were talking about players that we'd let go in at the end of this season. Like, who's going to come in? Who's really going to come into a football club that has got a history of not paying players? You could argue, it was 2-3 years ago, or however long it was last time. It's happened now. And we're going to be looking to sign players. We've got 7 games left of the season. The season finishes in a month and a half, and then we're going to be We're going to be in the off season. We're going to be looking at signing new players for next season. And then if there's a points deduction and it's deferred until next season, I mean, I don't know what would be worse. Would it be worse having the points deduction now, or would it be worse next season? I'm not quite sure. I mean, starting on -12, you're pretty much. You're dead and buried, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. You're gone with a -12 with the level of investment that we currently have. Like, you're absolutely dead and gone. Just a total off the top of my head, James, in terms of if you gave me that scenario of now or then, now is the time because we have this manager for another 7 games.
Yeah.
That is the only reason as to why. And I would back us to be able to overturn a 10-point deficit now with this manager still in charge, because they can draw on experiences from 12 months ago than starting a season on -12 with the transfer embargo.
Yeah. Add 12 points off the current total. Again, for everyone listening, that no points deduction has been given, but that is a possibility that a 12 points deduction can be given to teams that fail to pay players. Obviously, what is it? You have to self-nominate or after 2 days, which we've obviously done that. That's why it's come out on the club's official website. But 12 points off of where we are now would put us level with Cardiff, 2 points ahead of the drop. And you would back yourself to get more points than Derby, Luton, and Plymouth between now and the end of the season, wouldn't you? With the players that we've got, the manager, and all those other things, which kind of says to me, would the EFL? It's under their discretion. They don't have to give you a points deduction now. I think if we was in Plymouth's shoes, it would have been deferred, because I think if you're already kind of in the relegation zone, they can't, they would just give it you next season, and they would start -12 next year. But I don't know what they'd do. I agree with you. Giving it us now will give us a good chance, but. Who knows? Lee's just put in here, sums up in one word: embarrassing. Yeah. And once again, we are, it's all been over Talk Sport. I'm sure it'll be all over Sky Sports News if it isn't already. I've not checked. We've come straight on here kind of after we had the news and stuff. It's going to be everywhere once again. And once again, he's going to be getting all the attention for all the wrong reasons. And it's just happened too many times, and it's just a joke. Liam, a well-run club with a plan to be self-sustainable. We can only dream. Sarah said, bad news after bad news. Currently sat telling my son being a Wednesday fan is character. But it's funny as well. I put a tweet out. I put a tweet out earlier today, a couple of hours ago. It was, I fell in love with Sheffield Wednesday when ... It's funny, the news broke about not being paid, players being paid, and someone did actually put when they paid players.
When they paid players.
Yeah.
I've just highlighted this one from Blade Warning, who's a Blades fan in peace. What would Chansiri ask for? Wendy, the most attractive club as a potential suitor outside the Premier League in terms of value. I have a sneaking suspicion the estimation is going to be over asking price of what I think we're actually worth, because me and you, James, have done a lot on what we actually think we're worth in terms of it probably sits somewhere around that 30 to 40 million pound mark. I actually think his starting valuation for the football club prior to this news breaking was going to sit at around 60 million. With the news of this breaking, now, if you are a potential owner, there is a window of a real distinct possibility of a window of opportunity here.
Yeah.
Because you can't pay your players. You have got a manager who is about to potentially walk out the door down the road to one of the best teams who will be in this league next year. You have got 11 out of contract players. You've got a stadium that is falling down. You've got a training ground that is not a training ground because it's a conservatory. You've got a dome that doesn't inflate. You've got all of these issues. Let me solve them for you. Let me solve these for you now. I will offer you 45, 50 million for the full stake of Sheffield Wednesday. Who says no at this point in time in this particular situation? Who says no with how bad this situation is? If you are the owner and you go through and you pay players, let's say within the next, I don't know, let's say 48 hours, the chairman miraculously finds a couple of £1 million down a sofa to be able to pay players. Then what? Because you're still left with the wreckage of all of this after it. Paying the players doesn't immediately solve this problem. It doesn't stop this snowball of kind of like feeling from a fan base and from, because the other thing is, James, obviously after this news broke, every media outlet that covers the Championship immediately picked up on this and immediately started sending out memes to go with it and all the rest of it. But there were some really angry and frustrated ones in there. It's seen by just how many fans of other clubs are in the chat this evening. and going, this is absolutely ridiculous. I feel for you. Like,
but that's the thing. Football is born off like banter with your mates, banter amongst football clubs. When fans of other football clubs are genuinely feeling sorry for you as a fan base, there's a huge problem. And that's what everyone's saying. Phones going mental. Messages from other fans and stuff, fans of other football clubs, other podcasters that I've been, that I speak to on a regular basis, all saying that I feel for you. Like, I really do. We shouldn't be in this situation. That's not right. Like, that is not right. You should be, even got United fans even coming on here as well and saying exactly that. They should be bashing us for beating us a couple of weeks ago, not feeling sorry for us, and it's where we're at. Matt said maybe that's why the changes were made against Cardiff. Players refusing to come on or play. Could we really afford to pay Beadle's wages and Charles? Hence the reason they didn't really didn't play. I don't know. Is the honest answer to that one? No idea. Charles came on at half time. If he really were making that stance, then and I think looking at it, maybe other players like your likes of Bannon and stuff would probably be saying, "Come on, we need to." This is for the fans. It's not just for us and stuff. But again, I've no idea. I've not spoken to any players. I don't know why the changes were made. It kind of made sense with Charles, given that he played in the internationals and stuff. Sham says protest Sunday. Saturday even, not Sunday.
I'm not trying to dispel people from doing what they want. I genuinely, whilst I think that this is a fantastic opportunity to go and show and protest en masse as a fan base, to show your level of disgust at what is happening again, over and over again at Sheffield Wednesday. I genuinely, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but I don't feel that there is an appetite from the people who started the protest group previously to be able to actually want to do that again and want to stick the necks out. Now, what I would say for it is there needs to be some level of concerted effort from a fan base about chants that are sung predominantly away from home about the chairman on Saturday. Then there does need to be, and I'm not this isn't like a call to arms and please do this and all the rest of it, but I would be absolutely fucking astounded, James, if there is, I do not hear that, I don't care about Dejphon chant on Saturday on repeat for a good chunk of time.
Yeah, it's coming in it. Like I said it earlier, there will be chance on Saturday. Whether there is protests on it. I think the 1867 group or the Twitter account was removed, so that's no longer. Whether it's just been deactivated or whether it's actually been deleted, no idea. But we can't stop now. We can't just let this one slide again. No. Like we do you know what it is? Like I said before, it's a final nail in the coffin. Nobody now can defend him whatsoever. I don't know how they can. I don't see. They'll say it's not his fault. He's just not being paid by someone else. I'm not being funny. Like it's just all the mistakes that we've been talking about time after time after time with the running of the football club and the commercial running of the club. The fact that we haven't got many sponsors, if any sponsors. We don't do deals with anyone. We don't sell players. I could go on and on and on. But all that, this has culminated into this point now where we can't pay the players.
Yeah,
and that is just a fundamental part of owning any business. People call him a businessman. I'm sorry. He's like cash flow problems. He's had cash flow problems for years. And he's not done anything about it. He's not seemingly actively done anything about the problems that he's had. And this was coming.
Agreed. I've just highlighted this one from Gary here. Yes, it's on Sky Sports. I'm 56, supporter of the club. Supported the club. All of them. I've never known an owner as bad. This is What more do fans have to put up with? And that is it. It is a case of it's everybody connected to the football club apart from him, who has to constantly deal with this shit, deal with people like Jamie in the chat who's talking about this is City is red, is this, say is more, Jamie. it's dealing with shit like that. Like, it's dealing with people from like the other side of the city who, to be fair, like the majority of them are sensical and do kind of like sympathize with the plight. It's dealing with the sheer embarrassment of having to kind of like front up to it on Saturday. It's a whole host of things that come from it where you just kind of sit there and just think, this is so ridiculous now. It is just so ridiculous. And it's just, again, James, I just find myself just coming back to the statement that you made right at the top, which is not great for a podcast, just completely lost for words.
I know. Ev's just said, what is the most likely outcome from all of this? Well, personally, I honestly don't know. It is the honest answer. Because surely it is, as we mentioned, it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
But, you know, as quite a lot of people have been pointing out in the chat as well, that he still owns the football club. It's still his to sell. He doesn't have to do anything, and he's chosen not to do anything for the past 3-4 years, where there's been a concerted, big proportion of people that not happy with the way that he's run the football club, and that's just got bigger and bigger and bigger as time's gone on. Yes, it's kind of dipped a little bit, but I've always said to many people, just wait. Just bide your time out. He will fuck up at some point again in the near future, and he's done that multiple times in recent months. Fans Forum was only 2 months ago, 2 and a bit months ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems a lifetime ago because that much stuff has happened since then. Now we have unpaid players. Yeah, most likely outcome. He just carries on. Until maybe the authorities come in, as in like the FL, and actually do something about it. I just see it just carrying on. We have to do something as fans. We have to come together. We have to come and be united, as Simon was saying on the interview that he did, and all come together for the same. For the same thing, which is for the better of the football club, and that's just someone else coming in. It's got to the point, I don't really care who the owner of the football club is next. I just don't want it to be Dejphon Chansiri. I get the old grass isn't always greener, but by God, it doesn't have to be much greener to be greener than what it is now. Do you know what I mean? Like, we would have to be. I've often said that Sheffield Wednesday are unlucky as a football club. I say it in jest sometimes, but by God, we would have to be the most unluckiest football club if the club was sold to someone worse than Dejphon Chansiri. Do you know what I mean?
You would have to go some way, James, to beat 4 or 5 administrations or unpaid tax bills in 6 years, 4 unpaid tax bills in 6 years, and 2 potential transfer embargoes, or 2 failing to pay players in your 10 years of ownership. You'd have to go some way to beat it.
We could have 2 points deductions, substantial points deductions as well. Now, I don't want them down the road saying, "Oh, we had 1-2 points," or 6. It was 12, weren't it, last time, and it got reduced to 6. Is that right?
Yes, but that 6 was ultimately, as we all know, the 6 points that we had those 6 points, we'd have stayed up comfortably.
Yeah, we couldn't even survive on -6, could we? So
no,
again, it's just another thing. I don't want Ashley.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't want Mike Ashley either. Personally, I do not want Mike Ashley either because of what obviously he did to Newcastle, and I'm not advocating. I suppose I sit slightly differently from yourself, James. I do agree with the sentiment of anybody at this point in time. Like, I'm fairly sure me and you could probably do a better job of running this football club, because we'd just go out and say, well, neither of us are fucking qualified for this, so let's go and hire somebody who is.
Yeah. I think I've got about as much money as he's got as well.
Yeah, I'm skint as well. Actually, no, to be fair, I got paid on Friday. I'm looking at it from the perspective of, with him as an owner and somebody who potentially comes in next, all you need, and I mean this very nicely, all you need is a Milan Mandaric. You need somebody who comes out, is very open, and says, "This is what I've got to spend. Like it or lump it." Until somebody else comes and takes this off my hands, this is what you are stuck with. We are stuck with currently an owner who, in January, less than 2 months ago, came out and said, I have money. Money's not the problem. Money is the fucking problem. Money has been the problem for the past 6 years. Stop lying to your fan base. Stop lying to the people who are turning up week in, week out and backing not only the 11 players that are on here that are proud supporters and are affiliated to this football club, that travel the length and breadth of this country shouting about the good name of this football club. You are dragging every section of it through the mud, and it is nothing to do with the football club. It is to do with your poor decision making, your inability to listen to sound advice, your inability to listen to any advice from anybody who is not Amadou Pakshaw or one of your other trusted advisors that we don't know about. Every other person who has come in and tried to talk some level of sense into this man, he has turned away and said, no, this is ridiculous. He's done it with managers. He's done it with directors of football. He's done it with people who he has brought in because he has made a financial error in selling a fucking stadium to himself. And they've gone, yeah, there's not a lot you can do here. And he's gone, no, get out, you're sacked. What on fucking earth are you playing at? There is no corner you can turn to left where anyone, and I mean this nicely, because there will be people who come out and try to defend him again. How on earth, with this constant mounting of evidence, can you say anything other than, do you know what? He probably needs to sell. He's probably out of money. I don't dislike the man because I don't dislike the man. I don't know the man, so I don't dislike him. I think the way that he treats employees, people who he classes as actually probably more than employees. You know, you look at someone like Bannon. Bannon is always really complimentary about the chairman. Always. He always says, actually, me and him have got a good relationship. And he's always said to me, as long as I want a contract at this club, there will be a contract here.
Yeah, but Matt, paid the wages he's been paid, like, I'd love him as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Not going to say a bad word about him, are you? Do you know what I mean?
No, I completely agree with you. But again, this is a player who, when we were relegated, could have come out and started slating them. We've seen that video of, I don't want to throw an ex-player under the bus. Everybody's seen that video of Will Volks floating around on Twitter of just calling the chairman a tight, see you next Tuesday. We all know this. Every single one of them know this. Every single fan who will be at Hillsborough in attendance on Saturday knows what the owner is like. The only person who is refusing to admit this, like straight up refusing to admit this, is him. Now, this is a proud individual, somebody who is dictated, I would argue, the last, 4 years of ownership just on his pride alone, clinging on to it. There is no pride left. There is no pride in this. There is no pride in clinging on to and running a football club into the ground. There is absolutely none. So for the good of not only this fan base, the football club, everybody attached to it, but also yourself, your family's name, sell this football club.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like, literally, there is no other solution, really. It's only going to get worse than it. I can't see it getting any better. There's nothing in the pipeline to say that anything will change between now and whenever he leaves. It's just only going to get worse, and I'm not prepared to see, as you mentioned there, the club to be running to the ground like other football clubs have done so. You know, of hearing murmurings of things happening behind the scenes. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people trying to assemble things together, and and in light of this news and stuff, and maybe we might have something in the next couple of days, weeks, months. I've no idea when it's going to be, but I didn't expect to be coming on here this evening and talking about this. Don't want to be talking about anything like this at all. But yeah, I'll just read a few more tweets out, and then we'll wrap things up. Let's have a look. Matt, biggest one lately is why he hired Kev, but uses other avenues for player recruitment. That's even if Kevin Beadle's even at the club. If you read his Twitter, LinkedIn, he talks about it as in the past tense. So read into that what you will. Duncan, hopefully the consortium offer him a minimal amount to clear off. He might see it as better than going with nothing. He loses £9 million a year, or he did in the last accounts. Selling it for £1, he'd be £9 million better off within 12 months.
Immediately.
That's, do you know what I mean? I just don't know why he continues. Really, really don't. Don't even know what he's getting out of it. Kian says, knew it was too good to be true when the scoreboard finally got fixed and the sprinklers came on. Maybe that's where all the money's gone. Chansiri is like someone I know. They are never in the wrong and they think they are always right. Just remember as well, we had the fans for him in January because he didn't know why people didn't like him. Didn't know what the problem was. I think we all know what the problem is. I think you should know what the problem is right now anyway.
But again, it just goes back to, like, just before we came on, James, I pulled up this, and this was one from obviously that we did earlier in the year about this. The notable mad shit. This is aside from all of the refusing to, I'm going to put the club on the market. I believe people want to buy the club. Kate Bull deciding to make his own kit, shadow appointments of Pakshay. This list is fucking endless of just stupid decisions that he has consistently made since he decided to get rid of anybody with any level of football sense around the club. And there have been, let's be clear here, there have been several good people who have worked at this football club, and there are still good people who work at this football club. They have just somehow found a way of making a working relationship work, this relationship work. But there have been several good people who have, for whatever reason, felt the need, I can't work under this particular ownership and I need to move. This is current situation, James, as you said, in relation to Ev's question here. What happens next? Without a sale, this only gets worse and more frequent, because he has been out of money now for 12 months. The evidence is there, especially the last 6 months. Can't pay tax bills, can't pay transfer fees, can't pay player wages. What do you do moving forward? Because you can't solve these issues. You can't keep coming up for the 25th time with the excuse of, oh, do you know what? It's a cash flow problem. That is not an excuse. That is shorthand for, I don't have the money right now. That is not like that is not any saying putting cash flow issues is fancy. Sorry to anybody who does own their own business. That is fancy business speak for I'm skint.
Yeah,
like there's no other way of saying it. I am absolutely flat broke. There is no other way of saying this.
Well, according to Company's House, he only owns two businesses. One being Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, and the other one being Chansiri Limited.
Now, just before we finish, James, because I know you are wanting to wrap this up, this would be the really interesting question just for everybody to ponder on over this evening while you're already fuming. Wonder if he's paid himself his $2 million back for his rent on Hillsborough this month. Wonder if that's gone into the Chansiri bank account or not.
Yeah, it would be very, very interesting, wouldn't it, if that's happened. Yeah, right. We're gonna wrap things up there. I'm just gonna finish on one comment. Ebenezer, watch him sell Jeddah and Pierce, keep the money and sell the club. Would not surprise me in the slightest. I mean, that's only one crumb of comfort, is that we don't sell players, so maybe we don't sell those. But yeah, gonna finish. I mean, I'm sure everyone's read it already, but if you're just late coming on to this one, we have just been talking about Sheffield Wednesday that have confirmed a temporary issue with the payment of player salaries for the month of March. And yeah, a result of significant sums of money owed to the chairman's businesses, which has impacted on the club's immediate cash flow. And the chairman is apparently working hard to resolve the situation. So, what was my prediction for Saturday? Did I say 2-0?
Anyway, 2-1 Wednesday on Saturday, yeah.
Again, you know what? As much as what we think about the owner and things like that, it's not the player's fault. Let's do whatever you want to do on Saturday, but I think, back the team, not the regime, is a huge call.
Now, James, I agree with you. Can I just add on to that point? Now more than ever.
Yeah, 100%.
Now more than ever, those 11 and that manager and that coaching staff deserve a huge vocal backing on Saturday. Equally, it deserves to be as loud everybody's displeasure and anger from this evening and this news. Don't forget it when you get there on Saturday.
Yeah, 100%. Right, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Nearly 5,000 people watching in the end. It's amazing what bad news does to a fan base. But anyway, we're a sucker for just this sort of punishment, aren't we, as a fan base? But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you all on Wednesday for the debate show. Hopefully, the players have been paid by then. But we'll see you then. Cheers.